to a large extent, personalized medicine is really treating us each as special little snowflakes, but then holding that up against this idea that we have like 90% of our genes are the same as a stalk of corn. And how do we reconcile those two ideas?
Complexity theory, chaos, which is the tiniest changes in the initial conditions of a complex system lead to huge and unpredictable changes later down the chain and end results. So we can be almost the same, but those tiny changes end up making fundamental ontologic differences. So what's so beautiful about this from a philosophic point of view is we can get that we are almost the same as everyone else and almost the same as all the other animals. So we get to recognize this profound interconnectedness that leads to empathy and a sense of interinvestedness while holding the absolute uniqueness of every single thing, which leads to everything being irreplaceably precious. And that combination is both true. We're fundamentally interconnected, mostly the same, expressions of the same underlying stuff, and utterly irreplaceable.
It's an interesting dichotomy. And the fact that both are two sides of the same coin is pretty fascinating.
That specific concept regarding dichotomy is one of the key things that we actually have to get better at in medicine, which is health based on bottom-up effects where understanding the genome is enough for everything, or there are a lot of top-down effects where you actually have to understand the neuroendocrine system and the connectome. Both. There's bottom-up effects and top-down effects that lead to very complex feedback patterns. Is psychology affecting our bodies? Yes. Are our bodies affecting our psyche? Yes. Leading to feedback patterns that can vicious cycle or virtuous cycle. So there's a lot of what seem like competing truths that are actually not competing. They're complementary parts of more complex systems that we have to understand better.
That's an interesting question. So given that we'll probably find not necessarily just treating people that have conditions that they'd like better, but also looking at ways of optimizing things, people that are looking for performance enhancements, there could be either psychological or chemical, physiological, sort of more process-oriented approaches. If we've got various handles on approaching a change, how do we decide which handle to work from?
Fantastic question. When we talk about the future of medicine, we usually think about going from illness to baseline. Optimization is evolving the baseline. We have thought about optimization in the past in a zero-sum way, which means the total capacity of the system is fairly fixed. So if you evolve one thing, it's usually at the cost of something else, right? You can take steroids and get buff, but you're going to die faster. You can take Adderall and enhance your focus, but it's going to be at the cost of empathy or irritability or something else. Those enhancements are not that interesting. Those were the easy, the early, complicated, not complex approaches where we tried to lift one variable rather than lift the resilience and information processing capacity of the whole system. That's the key thing when we start understanding complex systems is, can you increase the net resilience of the entire system where you are increasing the empathy and the focus at the same time, where you're increasing the muscle density and longevity at the same time? The answer is yes. And it's a fundamentally different optimization approach. And then medicine, which is preventing illness and reversing illness, to baseline, enhancing baseline, which is kind of a biologic transhumanism, if you want to think about it, how we evolve ourselves and develop ourselves to further capacities. Those actually become gradients of the same system. And then the question, where do you do psychological stuff and where do you do physiologic stuff, is actually the same as where do you do within physiology bottom-up stuff at the level of cell energy versus top-down stuff at the level of connectomics and brain patterns. The answer is all of them. You end up getting positive feedback loops across all of them, right? You make a healthier brain at a neurohormonal, neurotransmitter level, it predisposes more positive emotions, perspectives, etc. You do work at a meaning-making, cognitive behavioral therapy. So everybody's experienced where you're feeling off physiologically because you sprained your ankle so you can't work out, or because you are hungover or you're sick or whatever, which then because you're feeling not positive physiologically becomes a state. And there's an emotional kind of effect of that. And then you start to perceive your life through that state. And it's kind of like shit-colored glasses. So then as you're perceiving life through that state, you start to have more negative thoughts, which lead to more negative emotions, which then have an actual stress effect on the body, leading to worse physiology, and you get a vicious cycle. And that could start on the body side or on the emotion side. Either side is enough to be able to start a propagating process. You can also propagate up, where someone starts exercising, leading to better ways of thinking, leading to making new decisions about how one is going to think and feel, etc. So the key ends up being, how do we stop negative feedback cycles everywhere? And how do we start virtuous cycles, propagating virtuous cycles? So we want to be able to pull the body levers, the environment levers, the relationship levers, the psyche levers simultaneously. Now, which ones are going to provide the most lift for an individual is going to be different for different cases, which is where you need to do personalized assessment. And we call it diagnosis if it's illness, but we would call it assessment if it's optimization. So we're doing kind of assessment on someone's physiometrics and psychometrics, and we see that there are particular biologic processes that are significantly off that we can actually intervene in and lift those. Lifting the things where there's most issue is going to lift the whole system the most. And so this starts to get into how do we do advanced human development. It's a combination of everything and the things that are going to be the most leveraged for that person based on assessment. This not only leads to the future of medicine and the future of biohacking and neurohacking and the future of psychotherapy and even what you could call spirituality or personal development, but even the future of education. How do you optimize the learning and evolution of a particular child or a particular person in a way that is both unique to their path and optimized for what they can uptake?
It's interesting because it almost seems like this is a threat to the way that technical professional specialization works in our modern world, because it's moving to such a multidisciplinary approach to almost everything. I mean, I could see if I'm an orthopedic surgeon, well, all of a sudden I'm going to have psychologists having advice on what I do. It's like, well, wait a minute, this is my turf. It seems like to apply some of these ideas would mean massive second and third order changes with sort of the way that society operates.
Yes. Most specialists will be replaced by robots of all kinds. So Da Vinci is a better surgeon than handheld surgeons, and it's going to keep getting better. Doesn't shake, has more precision, has optics that can go into a much deeper level of microscopic data than human eyes can. So whether it's being operated by humans still or operated by algorithms, individual specialty things that are highly specialized are going to be automated, because one of the things that humans do well is understanding generality and then being able to build tools to do it better than us. The hammer bangs better than our fist, right? In addition to fully specialized things being automated, which leaves humans to more understanding how the parts interact and the generalities, to the degree that it's a specialized task, but that still is quite complex and humans are going to be involved in it, they will be interfacing with other humans and other disciplines and with AI systems that are interfacing with the data from those other systems. So this is not what we call AI in terms of the strong AI, it's a conscious machine, but what we call symbiotic intelligence, where the intelligence of the humans and the intelligence of the computing processing power together provide the augmented capability. Because as long as we're saying my turf and we are not wanting to understand other things that are actually causal, then we're failing.
Right.
And so the key is causal closure. How do we understand everything that is causally affecting what we're working on? And then how do we understand everything that is causally affected by what we're working on, so we are not missing causation in the process or then causing externalized harm somewhere else?